The rain started just after sunset, a gentle patter at first, but it didn't take long for the sky to completely open up. It was coming down in sheets, so hard it was like a solid wall of water outside my window. Then the wind picked up. It wasn't just a strong breeze. It was a howl, a scream that seemed to wrap around the house and squeeze. The lights flickered once, twice, and then plunged me into total darkness. My heart jumped into my throat. Being alone in a storm is one thing, but being alone in a storm in complete darkness is a whole different level of terrifying. I fumbled for my phone, its small screen, the only light source in the vast, inky blackness of my own home. I tried to distract myself, scrolling through social media, but the wind was relentless. It moaned and shrieked, and every now and then I'd hear a loud crack from outside, followed by a thud that shook the entire house. Trees. The old oaks that lined my street were probably giving up the fight. I crept to the living room window and peered out, trying to see anything through the deluge. The wind was so powerful it was bending the trees nearly in half. It was like watching nature wage war on itself. I remember thinking how small and fragile the house felt, how small and fragile I felt. Then I heard it, a sound that cut through the roar of the wind and rain. A loud, rhythmic pounding. It was coming from the front door. Boom, boom. It was heavy, deliberate. Not like a branch hitting the door, but a fist. My blood ran cold. Who would be out in this? No one in their right mind would be knocking on doors in a storm this bad. My mind raced. Was it a neighbor needing help? Or was it something else? My fear won out. I backed away from the door, my phone clutched in my hand like a weapon. I held my breath, praying they would just go away. The pounding stopped. I waited, my ears straining to hear anything over the storm. Silence, or at least as silent as it could be with the world raging outside. I thought maybe I had imagined it, a trick of the wind. I slowly moved back towards the front door, my curiosity warring with my terror. I was about to peek through the peephole when a gust of wind, stronger than any I had felt all night, hit the house with the force of a truck. There was a splintering crack, and my front door, the one I had just been standing in front of, was ripped from its hinges and thrown open. I screamed. The wind and rain exploded into the house, a violent, chaotic invasion. Leaves and debris swirled around the hallway. I was frozen, just staring at the black, gaping hole where my door used to be, the stormy night staring back at me. It was pure, primal fear. I couldn't move, couldn't think. The whole world was a vortex of noise and darkness. And then everything went silent. Not the storm, but the world inside my head. A hand, covered in a cold, damp leather glove, clamped over my mouth from behind. It was firm, strong, and it muffled my scream into a pathetic whimper. Another arm wrapped around my waist, pulling me back against a hard chest. A low voice, a man's voice, spoke directly into my ear, his breath warm against my skin. "Please be calm," he whispered, his voice steady despite the chaos. "I won't hurt you. I just need to get out of the storm for the night." My mind was a blank slate of panic. I tried to struggle, to kick, to bite the hand over my mouth, but he was too strong. He held me effortlessly. "Don't fight me," he said, his voice still calm, almost gentle, which was somehow more terrifying than if he had yelled. "I promise. I just need shelter. When the storm passes, I'll be gone." He maneuvered me away from the open doorway, deeper into the house. The rain was still pouring in, soaking the floor. He kicked the broken door closed as best he could, muffling some of the storm's fury. Then, with his hand still firmly over my mouth, he used his other hand to pull something from his pocket. It was a strip of cloth. Before I could process what was happening, he was tying it over my eyes, plunging me back into a darkness far more complete and terrifying than the power outage. With the blindfold on, my other senses went into overdrive. I could feel the texture of the carpet under my feet as he guided me. I could smell the rain, the damp earth, and the faint, unfamiliar scent of leather and cold air that clung to him. He led me to a chair. I think it was one of the dining room chairs, and sat me down. My heart was a drum against my ribs, so loud I was sure he could hear it. I felt a rope, coarse and rough, being wrapped around my wrists, securing them to the back of the chair. I was completely helpless, bound and blind in my own home, a prisoner to a stranger who had come in with the storm. He didn't say another word. I heard his footsteps move away, the creak of a floorboard, and then nothing. Just the muffled sound of the wind and rain outside. The next 9 hours were the longest of my life. I sat there, tied to that chair, my imagination running wild. Every creak of the house, every howl of the wind was him coming back for me. Was he still in the house? Was he watching me? I strained my ears, trying to hear breathing, footsteps, anything. But there was only the storm. I called out a few times. "Hello? Are you still here?" My voice was a weak, trembling thing, swallowed by the darkness. There was never a reply. I tried to work the ropes loose, twisting my wrists until they were raw, but it was no use. They were tied expertly. Fear is exhausting. It drains you physically and mentally. My head started to droop. My body ached from being held in one position. Despite the terror, my eyelids grew heavy. I fought it. I tried to stay awake, to stay vigilant, but my body betrayed me. For just a moment, a minute, maybe longer, I don't know, I fell asleep. When I woke up, something was different. The first thing I noticed was the light. A soft gray light was filtering through my blindfold. It was morning. The storm had passed. The house was quiet, eerily so. The second thing I noticed was that my hands were free. I brought them up to my face, my fingers trembling as I pulled the blindfold away. I blinked, my eyes adjusting to the daylight. I was still in the dining room chair, but the ropes were gone. They were lying in a neat coil on the floor beside me. I was completely untied. My heart hammered in my chest as I slowly stood up, my legs stiff and unsteady. "Hello," I called out, my voice hoarse. No answer. I cautiously walked through the house, my bare feet stepping around puddles of water near the entrance. The front door was propped closed, shattered, but in place. I looked in every room, every closet, under every bed. There was no one. He was gone. It was as if he had never been there at all, except for the broken door and the coiled rope on the floor. I was alone again, the morning sun streaming into a house that now felt both violated and strangely safe. The storm was over, and so was my terrifying night with the stranger it brought. I still don't know who he was or why he chose my house. And I think that's the part that will haunt me forever. Thanks for listening to my story. If you have a crazy storm story of your own, share it in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more. Stay safe out there,